Day 141. For anyone that hasn't watched any of these videos or doesn't understand the theme of what I do or the rhythms of what I accomplish in these videos, I'm going to break it down again just real quick. So what I do is I cover a scripture or a set of verses in scripture, and I break those down. And then additionally, I'll cover typically one or a couple motivational quotes that are non-biblical, and I'll relate those typically back to the scripture. And a lot of my daily video content is around obviously the spiritual aspect of connecting with God and having a purpose in Jesus and being rooted in the truth, which is the Bible. And additionally, on the motivational quote side, I tie my videos into what I love, which is from an earthly perspective, taking care of my temple, going to the gym, eating healthy. Optimize is a buzzword that's overused nowadays, but I truly mean it when I say just trying to optimize my mind, my body, and my spirit. So we're going to start, and again, sometimes I do these in inverse order. There's not necessarily a method. It's kind of just what I'm feeling that day. I'll cover first, whether that's the scripture or whether that's the motivational quote. But we're going to talk about the scripture first today. It's in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 through 27. It says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." Let's talk about that last verse first in verse 27. "No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." What is Paul saying when he writes those words? When he says disqualified, he's not meaning that he could lose his salvation, but rather he's saying that he could lose the privilege of telling others about Christ. Because a pitfall that we can often fall into as humans when we're not living optimally is we can tell others how to live, but we don't take our own advice. So that we have to be very careful that we practice what we preach. And I've said this in many videos before, but that was something I struggled with in my life in previous seasons. And for someone that maybe knew me a few years ago or many years ago, I can only apologize or say that I truly am a different human. Not that I would like to think I wasn't some awful person, but at the same time, it's like you knew the truth and you have these things that you say are priority, but your actions don't always back those up. And I've really learned as the closer I've gotten to Jesus and the more that I'm just surrendering to him, that like, if you truly love God and you're truly pursuing Jesus with all of your heart, soul, and mind, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, but it is an honest pursuit of trying to be like Jesus, to love others well, and then your just daily habits are going to follow those that, again, trying to be like Jesus. It's going to limit not only just the anger or the impatience, but also just your daily habits of putting yourself in situations and just kind of removing yourself of situations that are possibly pitfalls or sinful. And I've just been trying to pursue goodness the last year. Also, what's Paul mean in some of those earlier verses 24 and 25? He's saying, like, in a race, there's only one person that gets to win the race. And they train to be the winner. You train intentionally. If you think about these marathon runners, like, they have a very strict regimen. Their entire life is not only around the training with the running, but what they're eating, what supplementation they're taking, how are they sleeping, and then very specific runs, especially leading up to the race, like how many miles they're doing each day, when to taper off, when to recover, when to push your body past the point of exhaustion. All that's calculated to be the winner. Same with boxers. And there's nothing wrong with training like that and to optimize your body so you can win. But what Paul also says in the verse thereafter is these people that chase these physical prizes, and I do the same, but just remember, like, any physical prize you chase to win a race or to win a boxing match, those crowns, those first place trophies that you get are not built to last. They will fade away. But chasing Jesus and being like Jesus and pursuing him with your heart, soul, and mind, that is a crown that will last through eternity with him. I love those verses. Some of the quotes that I have that are similar, I wrote down 2 quotes. One, it goes like this: he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. If you are a person that has a real deep rooted why, you can bear almost any earthly circumstance. You can have great perspective amidst life's storms. The next one: the fight is won or lost far away from witnesses. And again, I apologize if anyone isn't interested in gym, working out, motivational type videos, but that's just what I love, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a lot of my videos. But the fight is won or lost far away from witnesses. What do I think about when I read those words? It's like working out. It's like lifting, is these hours that you put in, the 10,000 hours I talked about this past week. No one sees those grueling training sessions and the disciplined eating. No one sees the grimacing and the shaking on the 8th, 9th, and 10th rep of that final set in the gym. And that's okay, and I don't think you need to do it to have some big glory or some big parade. But I'm just saying, like, the hours that we put in to get strong and to take care of ourselves, as the quote says, like, that is far away from any witness. You are in there, you against you, in the gym, fighting out every rep. And the result is eventual long-term gratification, not immediate gratification where you're getting a bunch of claps and applauses, but it's a month later or a year later. Those reps that you hours and hours put in at the gym is going to lead to strength. It's going to lead to your body eventually showing the benefits or eventually showing the inputs that you've been doing day after day after day after day consistently. And no one can take that away from you if you put the work in. My point there is, like, anyone can say, man, I wish I was motivated, or, oh, I wish I was as strong as this person or that person, but are you just truly putting in the work or not? And your body will show it, but it's delayed gratification that I always talk about. But that fight, it's like anything that, any way that I've been able to grow, like physically or goal-wise at the gym, it's just because of the hours that you put in. And that is so far away from any eyes or any applause or any witness. So again, I love those 2 quotes. Be connected to your why. The people that are the most disciplined, and the ones that I observe in my life at least, the people that are the most disciplined are the people that will keep showing up no matter how many times they get knocked down. It's people that are very connected to their why. Either something happened to them in their life where it was a huge wake-up call, or there's some other external storm or factor that they were able to jump over a hurdle. It's people that are so darn connected to, like, some adversity that they know they don't want to go back to whatever it is, the previous version of themselves. So they are chasing discipline and chasing routine with all they got. So if you have any goal of not even just physical, but spiritually getting more connected to God, or loving people better, or being a better husband or a father, whatever your goal is, being a better friend, whatever your goal is, think about what your why is. Why do you want those things? And if you can get really deeply connected to your why, you're going to be able to show up on the days you don't feel like it. Because newsflash, you're not always going to feel like it. I talked about 2 or 3 days ago maybe, that motivation's great, but we're not always going to be motivated. Motivation's a fuel that burns hot and fast. So what are you going to do on the days you're not motivated? What are you going to do on the days that you're tired? Are you still going to show up? Are you still going to push forward? And again, it's just like in these verses, and I'll close with this, but as I relate it to faith, like what Paul's saying in here is, like, I'm sure there are days where Paul was anxious. Paul didn't feel like being a leader. Paul was confused. Paul maybe even had some doubts. I don't know. But as Christians, we still need to run that race with all we got, because we know salvation. Like, that's what we're training for. And we have the good news. So not only are we training for salvation for ourselves, which should be all the motivation you need to continue to show up even when you don't feel like it, but we're not only just training for ourselves, we need to be spreading that good news to everyone else that we know. Because if you truly believe this stuff, why wouldn't you want to share it? Not only with family and friends, but with anyone that you come in contact with. And I'm not suggesting that we beat people over the head with a Bible that we don't know. But if you truly believe that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, it'd be hard for you to really want to bottle that up. It's going to be not only a part of who you are, like being a Christian is not a part of who Bryson is. Being a Christian and following Jesus is the central most point of who I am. And the more that I've leaned into that and leaned into Jesus, the more that I'm willing and wanting to talk about it, the more that I want to connect with people, the more I want to pray for people, and the more that I want people to have the good news that's in this book right here. That's what I got today. This is day 141.